Hey guys, and welcome to the vlog, a Christmas special. Yep, it's that time of year, and we're here again to, see out the year and take a look back on all the cool things that have happened, and the not so cool things maybe as well, and, just get into a bit of a hobby discussion. And while we do that, I'm going to be talking about getting into heresy. As you can see in front of me, there's a little special guy here, and we're going to be doing Night Lords. So Konrad Curze, the Primarch. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and so finally it's on the channel. We're going to be doing some heresy, and that's just really exciting. So I thought that would be a fun one for Christmas, do a cool model like this and discuss bit of heresy. But before we do that, we're going to get into channel news, hobby news, my Blight of Gods brand news, all the various elements that have gone into the channel and the hobby generally over the year, and all of that sort of thing. So I thought that'd be really fun. We're going to be doing some cool things on this one. I've got some new paints to try out, a few new colors, and I think it'd be a really fun challenge. Way back in the day, I used to do Night Lords, so this is kind of like 2.0 edition for me, and I think that's pretty fun. And I think it'll just be cool to start off. This will be the first one of the collection, and then building from here with this centerpiece model outwards to the other units and so on. It should be a really interesting journey. Before I waffle on too much in this intro, I think we should get into it and talk about some hobby news, eh? Okay, so 2024, what a year. It's been a wild ride. I'll just say that. Before we get onto the hobby news, just a little bit of an intro here. Reflection on the year. Yeah, it's been a big one for me. A lot of ups and downs. Some sad things and some complicated stuff, and then getting into then some good stuff as well. And in terms of hobby, it's been a pretty wonderful year, both for my normal hobby stuff, the Warhammer stuff and so on, and my own brand, Blight of Gods, and the minis that I've been creating. So there's a lot of positivity there for this year, a very productive year, but trying to keep it together while personal stuff in my personal life has been a bit of an up and down road, has been pretty wild. And we're going to reflect on some of the different things that we've done on the channel and for my Blight of Gods brand in a second, but trying to keep all that together and keep that going and keep these videos coming on the channel and all that sort of thing has been a real challenge for the year. I won't lie. I won't go into what the personal things are, but you can probably guess the very sad things that happen in life, and a couple of those over the year which have been difficult to say the least. But when you have good friends and family around you, it helps you through those times, and you can then get yourself back up again and keep going forward and find a way to move on from those things. So and also some time for reflection and that sort of thing, which is funnily enough, when you hit those sorts of moments in life where things are a little bit down, sometimes it galvanizes you into pushing forward and even being more productive than you were before. And that's kind of what's happened. It's kind of galvanized my resolve to push even more into this creative field and so on. So that's been a positive outcome of some of those things. It's just one of those things. We all go through it in life, and but now we'll get off that little part of the topic, and we'll get on to what the really positive stuff is, and that's quite a lot of really great hobby news, and a lot of really cool models out this year, both from GW and the wider community and companies that are out there. A lot of really great things have been happening this year, so that's really cool. So I think that's where we'll begin, and we'll start off with some of the really cool new minis that are coming out for AOS. So we've seen AOS 4th edition drop this year, and many cool new models for Stormcast and Skaven and so on, but I've already covered those in the previous vlogs. So we'll talk about something that was fairly recent. So we had that World Championships thing on a little while ago now, as of this video, and we saw some previews of the Git mob. Now, I don't know, by the time this video comes out, I don't know whether they'll be out yet or not. So I'm recording this a little bit early, so I'm not not sure whether these models will actually be released yet by the time this video comes out at Christmas time, but they could be. But while I've been doing this video, they've only been shown as pre-release sort of pics and so on. And if I'm really good, I'll be showing you some photos of them. So yeah, the Git mob looks really cool for Gloomspite Gits. We've got like that sort of Genghis Khan kind of theme coming back in, like with the other Wolf Riders that they released. And we've got the big leader on the giant wolf and that sort of thing. And the Doom Diver's back, which is another really amazing thing. So that's all really cool. That's like so good that they've released those, both for, not really just for AOS, but for Old World as well, because a lot of people will use those for Old World. And in fact, I think that special character, the big one on the big wolf, is almost a 1-to-1 for one of the special characters in the Orcs and Goblins army list. There's a special character that is described almost identically to this one. So there's definitely some cross-pollination going on behind the scenes in GW between the two studios, and that's pretty interesting. But all those models are great. Like if you're into goblins and or Gloomspite Gits or whatever, they're just an amazing bunch of minis, and that's great. That's awesome for all players. I'm glad you've got those. They're all very, very cool. And then alongside that, we also had a new Cruel Boys mini. So we've got like a Slitter Boss Hobgrot kind of character there. I don't know exactly what his use is going to be in the army, because at the moment Hobgrots don't really have a huge function in the list generally, not because they're particularly bad, but just because 4th edition, because of points increases and so on, and the way that the list writing is, there's not a lot of opportunities to add screens into your lists these days. It's often these big stack units and big stack heroes and so on, and there's not a lot of points left over for these smaller units. Just by chance, it seems to be arranging this way. Some armies can still get them in, like you might have one random unit of Hobgrots, but it's definitely a different sort of list writing experience for AOS at the moment. So things like Hobgrots don't really see play as much as maybe they used to as your little screen, and that also can be to do with different types of battle tactics and so on. So I'm sure they'll come back again as the game evolves over this edition, but at the moment they're not seeing a huge amount of play. So the Slitter Boss will be interesting, what he brings to the table, and maybe he does encourage more Hobgrot use for Cruel Boy players. So we'll see. I know I'll be playing against it because one of my closest mates is a Cruel Boys player, and I'm sure he'll be trying to use it. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. So AOS is going along really well. We'll be discussing it more. I'll be talking about this in the channel news, but we've got videos, obviously more videos coming for AOS, and in January I'll be talking about 4th edition and so on. I've got a video for that one coming out soon. That'll be the next one after this. So there's definitely a lot there to talk about, but we'll move on now into 40k. With 40k, I mean, there's some really quite amazing releases that have just been showcased. So the Eldar are getting their Phoenix Lords, which is amazing. Fire Dragons, Swooping Hawks, Warp Spiders, etc. And the Warp Spiders Phoenix Lord is particularly interesting. I like that one a lot. But the Swooping Hawks one is great, and all of that. They're all really awesome, right? I mean, this is sort of like the missing piece of the puzzle for Eldar. Getting all of these in really, these updated minis and so on, really does round out that range and give it a really awesome look. And so you're likely to get a few painting tutorials on the channel for that one. I'm sure I'll pick one or two of these things and have a go at it. Possibly that Warp Spider one, that looks really cool. But yeah, really exciting for Eldar players. I've still got my Harlequins scheme on the channel, so we might even do some more Harlequins. I know there was a few people asking me about maybe a jet bike or some of the larger stuff with that color scheme. So depending on how the army book is and where Harlequins fit, I'll take a look and see if there's anything interesting there to do for next year. But it's definitely possible. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. I can definitely think about adding that in. And I do have a color scheme for normal Eldar, the one that I did on Eldrad. So we can continue that color scheme as well if that's something that people are into. So yeah, that's all really exciting. And then also the Deathcore Krieg. So Imperial Imperial Guard got their next sort of, I guess, core regiment or style of Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum, and you know, Death Corps are just awesome, right? They're so evocative, so interesting. They're just a great bunch of minis that you can just invest so much energy into to give a really unique sort of, you know, military vibe to your collection. You know, in a different way to Cadians. You know, like Cadians are definitely the sci-fi looking sort of thing with their armor and so on, but the Death Corps Krieg have that sort of, you know, World War I, World War II sort of vibe going on, that sort of historical element to them, much like Steel Legion as well back in the day. And you know, that's a really cool thing. So you've got all that to work with, and with all of the third-party vendors and so on that produce STLs and so on for these sorts of armies. I mean, the world is your oyster right now for Death Corps. So that's really cool for those players, and I'm glad they're getting that, because that's awesome. And now we'll move on to, I think, you know, something near and dear to my heart, old world fantasy. And, you know, what an interesting year it's been for that. So yeah, old world, yeah, really cool. You know, I've played my first games and gotten into it, and it's been wonderful so far. And now we've seen the release of Empire, or about to get Empire to come out, and we've seen a really cool new mini for Chaos. So Freedale, or I don't know how to say her name, but a really cool model. So that's awesome for Chaos. I'm definitely looking forward to mucking around with that mini. Maybe we can do a conversion on it as my Chaos Warriors are followers of Ashut. Maybe we can do a cool conversion for that one at some point in the future. But yeah, looking really nice for Old World and the future of that game. You know, and by now, as of this video, you would have seen me painting some Chaos Knights for my Chaos army, and yeah, I'm really excited to get more into that. I've got a lot of conversions for next year for minis for the channel, but we'll talk about that in the channel news. Yeah, so that's going to be really fun. But yeah, I'm really happy with how Old World's going. It's just going from strength to strength as far as I can see. It's a solid addition to the type of games that are out there. There isn't anything, you know, there are a couple of other systems and other companies that scratch a similar itch, but you know, this is fantasy. This is the granddaddy, right? It's the grand old one that we all love from that time, and to have a new version of the game is just really cool. And hopefully it continues to grow and be stronger, and they don't decide to kill it again, because that'd be really sad. So yeah, I'm very happy that that's back. And then finally, we'll just make mention. So there's been a lot of third-party vendors producing their own games. You know, STLs for 3D printing, and lots of you know, sort of digital PDF downloads for rule sets and so on for agnostic games. You know, there's been so much. It's a bit hard to cover all here, but I guess the standout one this year would be Trench Crusade. The guys in my club are all mad frothing for it, so they've already done all the pledges and all the things to get all the STLs. So I'm probably going to end up getting a chance to dabble in Trench Crusade. So possibly over the year, if that becomes a thing in the club, then you may even see a couple of videos on Trench Crusade. I don't know yet, but I have actually designed a little sort of zombie flesh tutorial that you'll be seeing in January that sort of is evocative of that type of I guess mood for the skin. So lots of like dark reds, and then these sort of like grays, ashen grays, and so on for the flesh. So you'll be seeing that in January. But yeah, that sort of thing might be fun to play around with a few tutorials on that type of aesthetic. But we'll see how we go on that one. If you're really curious about Trench Crusade, or you'd like me to cover it for next year, I can certainly look at that. As I said, all the guys in the club are actively you know, mad for it. So you know, we could do a couple of videos on it, but let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But I think that's all pretty good now for the general hobby news. Now we'll get on to my Blight of Gods news. So yeah, what a big year for me. So as I said before, you know, the year for me personally has been a bit up and down, but alongside that, I've managed to hold my guns and do at least, I think the goal was to do at least 6 months of you know, back-to-back releases, which I did. I think I ended up doing about 7 months or 8 months straight, which was really cool to see if I could do that and just release continuously. And so, you know, and I've obviously backed off a little bit from that as we've come into the end of the year. So I've almost got my full faction of Undying Cult done. So if I'm really good, I'll show some nice images of the collection as it stands. And there's just one more named hero to do, and they're familiar. So once I've done that, that'll be probably a full set of 16 minis for the faction. At the moment it's 14, and well, sorry, depending on what these videos are, I might not have the other. I don't know. Anyway, there's another familiar there. So there might only be 13 models in those photos. I don't know. But anyway, the full set is 16, and that should be coming up very shortly. So into January, February, I should have all that complete. And alongside that, I'll be releasing bases and scenic bases for those that correspond to that sort of aesthetic. So the paving tiles and that sort of thing, along with some, you know, skulls and little bits and pieces that you can add to your bases to sort of complete that set. And then moving into next year, we'll be doing my Darkspawn. So on my website, if you look in the characters and minions section, you'll see a lot of aquatic demons, that sort of thing. So that's that faction, and I'll be starting to produce the minis for that. So again, another set of 16 minis in the same sort of configuration. You have these sort of like troops, and then sort of lesser characters and greater characters, and then you have your named ones, and you know, big monsters and so on, and lords and that sort of thing. So they all follow a similar kind of pattern, and that's because ultimately it's for a game. So at some point in the future, I'll be able to release that. But you know, for now it's just minis. But they'll have their full set of 16 going over next year and probably into the year after. The goal for the game would be to release it at some point in 2026. But for now, that's where it's at. So I'm really happy with how that's going. Hopefully, I can continue to push for those new ones for the Darkspawn next year and keep that sort of momentum going. But I'm very happy with where it's all at, and yeah, that's been really cool to get that going, because yeah, it's been a big learning curve working in that scale, in that sort of 32mm scale, and changing your sculpting style to suit it. My background is in like larger scale stuff, so things like for movies and that sort of thing, and so the sculpting that you do on that is very different to something like miniature scales. So yeah, it's been a really interesting road just getting that down and being able to release these. So yeah, I'm very happy with all of that. So now I think we'll cross over into channel news and just have a little bit of a look back on the year and all the minis that we've done over the year, and the videos and everything, and discuss maybe what's happening into the future for next year. So yeah, a good year of videos. So you know, we got through pretty much everything that I said from the previous year of what I wanted to get in. You know, some Infinity, you know, all the main systems, etc. Some Shatterpoint, all of these different game systems. So I pretty much got them all. There might be one or two that I missed, but you know, it's a pretty good you know, collection of videos this year. Some blends, some different sorts of schemes, continuation of schemes that I've already done on you know, Stormcast, etc. You know, and just building up quite a range of videos and topics there for the year, which I think has been really cool, and I'm very happy and proud of what I've managed to achieve there. So that's really great. You know, and then we've got, you know, so what's going to be happening for next year? Well, for the videos, you know, we've got, again, 40K. I've got a interesting project for that one, alongside normal 40K, painting like maybe some Eldar or Harlequins. We've got a sort of a retro project I'd like to hopefully start next year, which is sort of a Dark Angels project that is sort of evoking, you know, Rogue Trader early 3rd edition sort of vibes, using Heresy Mark 6 armor. I've always wanted to do like a full beaky helmet army, and initially this will just be sort of like a painting project. So we're going to be tackling this a little bit differently to others that I might have done on the channel, but it's going to be a really interesting project. So if I can get that started next year, that'll be something that we'll be looking into, you know, and that pairs nicely with the things I'm doing with the Night Lords and that sort of thing as well, and that should be a really interesting one. So then with AOS, again, we'll be just covering many different topics, as I always do, alongside Stormcast and so on, maybe some more Soul Blight and various others that I pick up on. This year we've dabbled in some Skaven and that sort of thing, which has been really cool. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be continuing along those lines and adding to that collection for sure. Then we have Heresy, so you know, that's going to be coming in this year. We'll be doing a few videos on that on Night Lords, so that'll be really cool. And obviously Old World will continue. I've got my Hashut warriors, you know, coming together, so we'll be seeing some more videos there. And you know, there'll be some converted stuff, different things like that, some themed units, you know, to dig into. So that'll be really fun as well. and possibly some other one-off videos for that too. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go, but definitely, obviously, the Chaos Warrior stuff we'll be doing. And then finally, you've got things like Blood Bowl and Necromunda and other sub-game sort of minis as well that I'm still interested in adding to the channel and that sort of thing. So we'll see if we get 1 or 2 videos there. And then obviously other game systems like from Atomic Mass Games, so Shatterpoint, what is it? Crisis Protocol, Marvel, and, many others. I've even been looking at a few other game systems as well, but we'll see about how much I could potentially get on the channel, things like Bolt Action and other games, and then finally, obviously, Trench Crusade. As I said, my club members are all big on that at the moment, so probably there might even be a Trench Crusade video or 2 there. And obviously, alongside all of these, we'll have more Blight of Gods videos, so it'll be a collection like I did for the Undying Cult. It'll be a collection of maybe between 4 and 6 sort of videos on those schemes and the color schemes that I've done there. So that'll be really cool once I start releasing those. So that's a really, really packed sort of year, very similar to this year in terms of the output. It's looking at roughly around about 2 videos a month over the year. So it's enough there to get a good spread of content, and that should be really interesting. So hopefully we get all that down and it all works. There might be a few months there where I do 1 video like I've done this year, depending on how the work is and that sort of thing. But I'm looking pretty positive for the year, and hopefully that's all that stuff there sounds exciting to you. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about all that. Anything you'd like to see me add to this list or focus on in one of those topics, one of those sort of game systems and that sort of thing. I'm more than happy to take on those suggestions, and if I can fit it in, I will. So yeah, it's all pretty good. I'm pretty happy. In terms of the other side of the channel, the tech and so on, the cameras and the setup, nothing's really going to change, I don't think, unless something, drastically changes in my money situation or whatever, and I can upgrade things. But at the moment, with the way life is, it's probably going to stay as is for now, and unless something, really drastic changes. But otherwise, we'll be continuing on in the same formats that I have, and I think that's pretty good for the moment. So with that said, I think we should get onto this little informal topic about getting into heresy and have a little bit of a chat on that, eh? So yeah, getting into heresy, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, just like Old World, and I think I guess this sort of topic runs very similar to the one we talked about when I was initially getting into Old World. I think heresy really offers a certain type of vibe or a certain type of play experience and modeling and painting experience that is unique to itself, especially in this era of modern games. There's nothing really a lot like it. As I mentioned, things like Bolt Action, other games, there are some other, sort of war game style games out there, but a lot of the games these days are moving to more of a skirmish, sort of almost board game like scenario. And that's all fine, that's great. But it is nice to have that other side of the gaming experience, that more sort of traditional large table war game style game. And I think that's where Heresy and Old World and other games similar to that really, offer that experience. And I think that's really valuable and something that if you can incorporate into your hobby regime, it is a worthwhile one for sure. So I would say that's really where my impetus to get into this is really grounded, is that, I kind of miss the old days, I guess that's what it's really banking on, right? That sort of crunchy detail of the older games, old 40K, etc. Just getting into the sort of the crunchy parts of the list building experience. Because for me, list building is one of those like really big aspects of the hobby that I love outside of the painting and the modeling and, the creative side. The list building thing is really fun. It's sort of like fantasy football or something. You get sort of, you're just delving into these ideas and picking, all these different sorts of options and so on. And it's a really cool thing, and then you get to vibe with your mates and know, show them different lists, and you all talk it out, and you almost have a game mentally. And sometimes some of these lists don't ever need to be played. You know, you can literally have that gaming experience without ever needing to put models on the table. And in our modern world where things are very, you know, stressful at times and demanding, that's a really great thing. It means you can literally engage in your hobby without ever having to lift a brush or a dice or anything, and get a little bit of value out of it without ever going any more than that. And so for a lot of it, that list writing thing, that fantasy thing, is actually a really important part of the hobby experience, at least for me, and I know for others too, especially in the club. And so that's a really fun thing. And you know, something like Heresy is really giving you that opportunity. It's you know, it's got a more crunchier rule set, you know, the list options, etc. So you have a lot there that you can play around with. Now, obviously, there might be arguments for competitive play or more you know, tactical options that are more beneficial. So maybe the options aren't as wide as what they might seem on the paper, but when you're playing casually, you don't always have to do as optimal list as possible. So there are still those sort of pet units and you know, side units that you wouldn't normally take, but you might do that as Heresy does sort of encourage a more historical kind of narrative play experience where you might be focusing on something else that isn't just about an optimized list, which, you know, in both cases is great. I like playing competitive no matter what I'm doing, but you know, you can add that little bit of story element in there and maybe take a few unoptimized units to sort of showcase a certain aspect of the battle that you're trying to create there. And so Heresy does give you that sort of opportunity in a more I guess, deliberate way than, let's say, some other games do. There's not as much hoops and hurdles you have to go over to actually get the game to feel like that, because it already is sort of like that already, just in its natural form. A little bit like Old World. Old World sort of just plays out the way you expect it to, more or less, with some exceptions. There are some issues about infantry and so on in that game that don't quite play out like the images suggest. But, you know, for the most part, it does kind of feel a lot like the thing that you want to play. So, you know, that's a really great thing about Heresy, and I'm really keen to have that experience again, because it's something I miss from the old days. From, you know, I'm like ancient, so like I can remember all the old systems, and there's something about them that it just, you know, it just stays with you. And the fact that it's still here in some form with Heresy is an awesome thing. And so, you know, at some point soon, Heresy is going to be going under a new edition. I'm pretty sure, but what all the rumors say, it's next year. So this is a pretty good time to get into it, to start, you know, getting some models painted and so on. And I'll be able to engage in whatever that new edition is. And hopefully it stays true to the older style of systems, where it still stays pretty crunchy, hoping for that sort of thing, because that's the sort of experience that I'm looking for this type of game, as opposed to something like Modern 40K, etc. You know, that's the whole reason why you do it, so you get those different flavors. And I think that's really fun to do, and it gives you those refresher gaming experiences. We've talked a lot about refresher models on this channel, and, you know, varying how you go about painting your minis, but that also includes for gaming as well. So you have your sort of refresher game systems that, you know, you take a break from the main one to play that one to, you know, revitalize your interest, and then you come back to the other one. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying it out. So hopefully I'll get a chance to do that next year at some point, but we'll see how fast this collection grows. It is obviously a larger game, and that's something to consider when you're thinking about, you know, new game systems. Heresy is a lot more models, you know, than the other systems. So I don't know how far I'll get on that. Certainly, you know, Heresy players like to play a bigger points value. I think, you know, 2,500 to 3,000 points is sort of the more average for Heresy than, let's say, 1,500 or 2K or that sort of thing. It's a bit small for what Heresy generally likes to do, at least the way the community generally plays these sort of larger games. So I don't know whether I'll get that far this coming year, but I might be able to get to 1,500 or 2K. We'll see what happens. But I'm very keen. Even if I've got to proxy it just so I can get a game in, I'll try that as well. But yeah, it's looking pretty fun, and I think that Heresy, you know, does give you this sort of chance to explore those things. And I've got a lot of cool ideas for it anyway. So that's the main thing, right? When you're looking at a new game system, you know, what is it bringing to you? What is it suggesting? Is it inspiring you from a gaming point of view or a hobby point of view, or both? And what can you get out of it? And I think they're all the fun things about, you know, dabbling into a new system. You know, that's a really cool thing in this hobby. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Heresy holds for me and do some really cool videos for you guys, you know, on the channel and just see where it goes. It should be really fun, and I'm sure I'm enjoying this process of painting Konrad Curze here. I think he's a pretty cool mini, so you know, and that's going to be really fun to explore that. So I think that's pretty good on this little informal chat. I'm going to talk more about Heresy as the year goes on. But look, I'd really like to say thank you very much for all your support this year. It's been amazing. I'll probably thank you again in the outro here, but you know, I do wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Whatever you celebrate or any of those things, that you do have a great time over this period, and I wish you all the best, both personally and for your hobbies. You know, and I hope you're all getting into that and having a good time. You know, that it's just been really great doing these videos and this channel, and you know, interacting with you all and that sort of thing, and producing this sort of content. I hope it's been, you know, useful to you guys, and it's helped you out in some way, whether that's, you know, educational wise or just entertainment, whatever it is. But I'm really grateful to be able to you know, reach people and share this sort of hobby experience with them. I think that's really special, and it's definitely kept me, you know, on the level over the year. That's been a really great thing that I can go to and share this experience with you. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all very much for all your support, and obviously I wish you all a very wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll be looking forward to more videos into January and February and so on, and exploring all the new possibilities that we can you know, dig into next year. So, you know, as I said before, don't feel shy about asking for things. You can put those in the comments, and I'll keep them in mind as we move through the year, and if I can put them in the, you know, in the regime, then I will, and not everything obviously, but I'll do my best. And so yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much, and I guess now we'll go into the outro and take a look at how I've gone with Konrad, and give you my final thoughts, eh? Okay, well, what a way to end the year. Konrad Curze, all done. Let's take a look. Yeah, so this is really cool. I'm really happy to be sharing, you know, Night Lords on the channel. It's going to be really fun to do more of these videos. You know, Night Lords is one of those factions that I've always enjoyed. The blue and the red is really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing more Heresy videos for you guys into next year. It should be really good. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this year's videos and are excited for the next year's ones. It should be a good year. And I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a wonderful time, and it'll be really fun to see you all next year for when we do the videos. That'll be great. So I'll leave a nice image for this one, as I normally do, and I'll show you the base here with the servitors and the paint list and so on. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one.